Part 22. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 211. The online incident was so big that it was impossible for the Lin family not to see it. But for so long, the Lin family has not come forward to talk about the second daughter. Then this. It's not just subtle. He didn't say why he broke off the relationship with Lin Mei, but it's impossible to save the relationship now. Lin Mei, who was filming, must be confused. However, at this time, another anonymous person's revelation was leaked from the forum to Weibo, causing an uproar. Revelation of the second princess who was thrown away. Anonymous revelation: back then, the princess's family was not as rich as it is now. The old emperor of the L family was very capable and skillful. He came to this point step by step. Unfortunately, his children were not competitive because they came from a city that valued sons over daughters. The concept of family status was quite serious. They thought that if there was a throne in the family, they had to give birth to a son. The daughter-in-law, the noble lady, was from an ordinary family. After marrying into his family, she didn't have a good life because of the pressure of giving birth to a son. The first child gave birth to a princess, and the pressure was a bit too much. Unexpectedly, the second child was also a princess. Her husband was still cheating outside. As a result, the noble lady was forced to suffer from depression. I don't know what's wrong with her. She doesn't like the innocent second princess and has to send her away. The key is that her family hasn't stopped her. When the second princess was sent away, the eldest princess was still ignorant and didn't know anything. Later, she finally gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl, which had a good meaning. She also had a son, which was considered a success. Since then, the daughter-in-law has been proud and has been at ease as a rich wife. The second princess was innocent. Not long after she was sent away, something happened in the family of the takeover and she was unwilling to raise her. As a result, she had a bad idea and didn't think about sending her back. Instead, she thought that the little girl was cute and beautiful and planned to sell her. As a result, something went wrong on the way. The second princess was thrown on the side of the road and was picked up and raised by an old grandfather in the village. It was not her fate. The people who sold and bought her were sentenced. After she came out, the sentenced person thought that he was unprovoked and extorted a large sum of money from the L family. The L family thought it was embarrassing, so they just gave the money and never thought about getting the second princess back. Later, the eldest princess wanted to go on the show, but her family refused to agree. The eldest princess had no choice but to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in liquidated damages. By chance, she got some news and found the second princess who had been missing for many years. After some inquiries, the second princess agreed to go on the show live, which solved the eldest princess's urgent need. When the L family knew the news, they sent the eldest princess to meet her. They despised the second princess because she grew up in the countryside and had a different status from them. She didn't learn much and couldn't even get a college diploma. They felt ashamed and refused to recognize her. The eldest princess had a conflict with her family because of the second princess, and something went wrong at this time. The noble lady was so angry that she said she wanted to break off relations with the eldest princess. The eldest princess ignored her, and now there is the current situation. I am dying of laughter. What era is it? They still favor boys over girls. After giving birth to a son, don't you know what your son is like? This revelation was posted on the forum, and as soon as it appeared, it became the top hot post of the day, and the entire forum was in an uproar. Mainly because the information was too good. The L family and the eldest and second princesses were so clearly linked. The Lin family had Lin Mei and Ying Wan, and a pair of twins, right? The relationship was not a bloody story of disappearance, but the Lin family deliberately abandoned the person. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 212. Not to mention the crowd was stunned, Even Lin Mei and Su Xiao were shocked when they saw the news. Is it sent on purpose? On purpose? Su Xiao couldn't believe his eyes. If the Lin family did such a thing, they would be scolded no matter how hard it was. Lin Mei also looked pale. Not only was she cut off from her relationship, the key was that she had never thought that Yingwan was deliberately given away by her family. Give it away on purpose. The meaning of these words is so chilling. Look at this, it was almost sold. If the police hadn't caught him quickly, oh my god. Su Xiao covered her mouth. For a moment, she was not thinking about how stupid the Lin family was, but thinking about how if she had made a wrong step back then, what if Yingwan was not picked up by her grandfather, but something else happened. She has such a high IQ. Such a smart person is likely to be buried. Maybe something more terrible will happen. This is too shocking. My mother, she. Lin Mei's voice trembled. She felt that her tears had almost become worthless during this period. Now that she knew the news, her heart ached for Yingwan again. She would actually do such a thing. That is her biological daughter, no matter how much she dislikes her, she is still her biological daughter. He actually gave it away when he said it would be given away. No wonder Yingwan didn't recognize Yu Wenzi. Had she known these things for a long time? Had she known for a long time how chilling the Lin family's actions were? Su Xiao rubbed his forehead. Now I have to re-examine the weirdness of your family. The key is that in this way, a genius like Yingwan can be born. It's a shame that it's a gift. It's a shame that Yingwan was given birth to by her grandfather. He who was brought up without being led astray is really a sinner, a sinner. Lin Mei. As soon as this news came out, not only Weibo exploded, but also the entertainment industry and many people in shopping malls exploded. Was Yingwan abandoned like this? No wonder I have to recognize the Lin family. Who can recognize the Lin family? Who can feel comfortable? Of course, there are also those who don't believe it. They accuse the blogger who broke the news of being too detailed. Could it be that the person involved is in someone else's home? Otherwise, how could you know so clearly? Of course, there are also angles that clearly capture the key points. I can't even get a college diploma, that's really miserable. After all, I grew up in a rural area and don't have such good resources. No, her sister said publicly that Yingwan has been concentrating on her studies. It's impossible to not graduate from college if she concentrates on her studies, right? Even if the thing is true, doesn't it also prove that her sister is now creating a character for her? It shows that she is really planning to debut. Didn't she show off her math talent in the previous live broadcast? I didn't see how awesome she is. It's quite artificial, to be honest. I can just read the questions and tell the answers. She was too good on the show showing off. It's so miserable. Yingwan is really miserable. She should have had a good life, but the Lin family is so awesome at what they do. Normal people should sympathize with Yingwan now, right? Is it interesting to talk about a bunch of useful things? What can a diploma prove? A group of people are really superficial, so they can't think boldly. Maybe they would be better off if they didn't live in the Lin family's home. To be honest, the Lin family doesn't owe her anything after all. They gave her life. There are many places where baby girls are strangled to death immediately after birth. Her fate has already been calculated. I really don't know how to describe the comments about the best ideas of some best people. If this kind of thing happened to me, I don't know how you would cry, and you actually say that other people's lives are good enough. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 213. The news about Yingwan on the internet has indeed shocked many people. Not many people know about this. When the information was investigated back then, no one, including the big guys, knew what happened to Yingwan. They only knew that she was picked up and raised by her grandfather when she was a child. When there was an extra Lin family on the show, they didn't think much about it, thinking that since the biological family had appeared, Yingwan would definitely return to the family. So someone started thinking of trying to please the Lin family. I thought that I would be able to take a look at Wang Gao sometime. As a result, after waiting around for a while, there was no news that Yingwan was going back to the Lin family. Instead, Si Lu took action against the Lin family. He's crazy. Doesn't he even care about Yingwan? Although the Si family was powerful and made no less concessions to Yingwan, Si Lu was able to force her brother to leave the country without looking at Yingwan's face. This Si Lu's behavior had no limit. However, this also blocked a group of people who wanted to help the Lin family. Yingwan was very strong, and the Si family could not ignore it. However, before they could get over the shock, what was revealed now almost made them bite off a piece of their tongue. Nima, is there such a big secret in love? No wonder Yingwan has never said anything to the Lin family. Based on this fact, no one would return to the Lin family again. The group of people were sweating, thankful that they hadn't had time to take action yet. If this happens. So this is the truth. Yan'ai was a little shocked when she saw the revelations on the internet. Isn't that what happened to the Lin family? It's just a daughter, how could she not be able to afford it? Yu Wenza sent people away, what on earth was she thinking? Even her sister Yanning disagreed, no wonder Lin Mei doesn't like the Lin family. I heard that her life in the Lin family was not easy, and she has severed ties now. The Lin family is also very strict in doing things. When Yan'ai heard this, her eyes flashed, she no longer has the Lin family to back her up. Are you talking about cancelling the cooperation with her on the drama Worldly People? Is the show People of the World related to the Lin family? Yanning didn't quite understand the twists and turns of the entertainment industry, but she knew some of her sister's thoughts. She hesitated for a moment and advised, "Sister, I don't quite understand what's going on, but I think you almost overturned last time. The matter of your fans spreading rumors about Yingwan hasn't been fully resolved yet. I'd like to take advantage of everyone's attention right now. If it's not on you, why don't you just concentrate on the work at hand?" Yan'ai was unhappy when she heard this, but she didn't say anything clearly because of her sister's sake. But his eyes flickered, seemingly absent-minded, and he didn't know if he listened to Yanning's words. Yanning sighed slightly when he saw his sister's appearance. Yan'ai came back to her senses and suddenly said, "Go abroad and buy a precious dog breed. It doesn't matter what kind of dog it is, as long as it is expensive. It is best if it has been competed and has a certificate." Yanning was a little confused. "Don't you like dogs?" Yan'ai sneered, "I don't like it, but don't forget that Yingwan has a dog there. She can raise a local dog, why can't I?" Yanning could tell that this was aimed at Yingwan. She was really confused. If you don't like Lin Mei, I can understand, but the relationship between Yingwan and Lin Mei is not that big. It's okay that Yan'ai and Lin Mei have been fighting since they were young, but why does her sister even Yingwan? Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 214. What do you know? Yan'ai is a little impatient now. Do you think I am willing? Who am I doing this for? It's for you. Since I went on the show, you also came back. Lin Mei has a sister, and I have one too. How many people compare us online? I definitely don't want you to be compared with her. You are my sister, Yan'ai. But I don't need to compare with her. Yanning said, "You said that. Lin Mei's sister grew up in the countryside and has no conditions to compare with us. Now I think that we are doing the same thing as them, but it is a bit petty and makes people feel petty. She is destined not to be from the same country as us, so why do you care about her? I just don't like Lin Mei." Yan'ai gritted her teeth. "I will always let her quit this circle, even if she doesn't mix it anymore. As long as she is there, you will see that those black fans outside will say that my popularity is not as good as hers. What is worse than me? Her acting skills are not necessarily better than mine, and her resources are not as good as mine. Why? Seeing her sister's angry look, Yanning could only sigh. I don't know when their dispute will end. Why did she dare to expose this matter? Why dare? The online incident was directly blown up, and the hot search exploded. Not only Lin Jiangguo received the news, but Yu Wenzi and others also received the news. Originally, it was just to release the news and ignore Lin Mei, so that she would retreat and go home to apologize. Maybe there would be a chance. Who would have thought that someone would directly expose the incident of that year? Although Lin Jiangguo used emergency public relations to send out a lawyer's letter, saying that the other party was spreading rumors. But I didn't expect the other party's reply to be quite arrogant. Spread rumors, I have a basket of evidence here, you can sue me. He is so arrogant, mainly because the incident of that year was indeed true, and the Lin family can sue. During the process of suing, the other party can make the Lin family drink a pot of evidence. Now outside reporters are calling in to ask, no matter what, deliberately giving away their own daughter is indeed too unkind. Now they are still clamoring to sever ties with their eldest daughter, so the idea of favoring sons over daughters is even more credible. In this era, men are still valued over women, especially in the Lin family. Isn't this just putting your face out there for others to slap? Even if it is the truth, it is impossible to admit it. Yu Wenzi immediately thought that Lin Mei did it. What did we do wrong to her? What did we do wrong? She almost fainted from crying at this moment. Lin Jiarui hugged her and looked a little hesitant. How did the boss know about this? When asking for money, it was done secretly. Lin Mei was still working in another place and rarely came home. How could she know about this? And Lin Jiarui remembered that when she went to Huayang village, Yingwan said it herself. She knew what happened back then. No matter how you look at it, it is more likely that Yingwan did it. But, where did Yingwan find the channel to expose the news? His father immediately asked the public relations team to suppress the matter and was still investigating the other party's information. Unexpectedly, he couldn't find out no matter what, and the forum that exposed the news would not agree to delete the post even if he was paid, which made Lin Jiangguo very angry. How could she not know? She had this trick in mind. Yu Wenzi cried bitterly, I really do. If I had known she was so cruel, I should have sent her off as well. She cried in grief and anger, but also showed a chilling gritting of teeth. I'm sorry everyone, I was too busy these 2 days and forgot to reply to the update question. I didn't update the 4 chapters yesterday, but there are still 4 chapters today. These 2 chapters are to compensate you. There will be 8 chapters during the day. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 215. Maybe not the boss. Lin Jiarui hesitated for a moment, and then said to Yu Wenzi, Yingwan knew what happened back then. When I went to Huayang village to find her last time, she told her everything clearly. Even I didn't know. How on earth did she know? Yu Wenzi's crying suddenly stopped. Does she know? Lin Jiarui nodded. She knows. Yu Wenzi suddenly felt a chill in her heart. Why does this guy who grew up in the countryside know everything? Shouldn't she know nothing? No wonder, no wonder. Yu Wenzi has never met Yingwan in real life, but has also seen her on the live broadcast. She was so good looking that even the ladies around her asked why they didn't bring Yingwan back. Yu Wenzi didn't know before, but now Yu Wenzi understands. She opened her eyes and didn't know what to say for a moment. She also knew that others might choose not to return to the Lin family if they knew the truth, but she couldn't put herself in their shoes. Yingwan knew these things and told the media, so this matter became a big deal. Dad said Yingwan is not normal. Lin Jiarui said what he knew in a low voice at this moment. Last time about Baeo-jun's incident, it was said that Baeo-jun went there and found local people to cause trouble, and the person who caused trouble, Dad didn't say much, just they said that we would never offend her, but that person knew Yingwan, so now I suspect that Yingwan is not as good as we thought. I went to check her information, but I couldn't find any information at all. Where did she study since she was a child? No matter what experience I have, it's all blank. This is not normal. Yu Wenzi held his hand and stared at him fiercely. Why didn't you tell these things earlier? Lin Jiarui felt that he was also innocent. Looking at his wife, he sighed helplessly. I didn't know that you and Mom would be so excited. Did you go too far in saying that you wanted to sever ties with the boss? No matter what, she would be the same. Our daughter can't let outsiders know about her troubles. Why do we break off the relationship so easily? Lin Jiarui, are you humming crazy? His wife, who had always seemed gentle and generous, actually scolded him at this moment. You are asking me why now? Why don't you ask your mother? Now it is my turn to be partial in this family, right? You are here, you are a peacemaker and a good person. You don't treat Lin Mei and Baoxi differently in normal times. Are you talking about me here now? Is it because I am excited? I feel more uncomfortable than anyone else when Baeo-jun is sent abroad. Where is your mother? Crying and making trouble. It was because of you that I sent Yingwan away. Didn't you, Lin Jiarui, expect this to happen today? Yu Wenzi is going crazy at this moment. If it weren't for them, he would have worked so hard to give birth to a son, but now, in Lin Jiarui's eyes, it was because he was too excited and was making a fuss out of a molehill. How come the Lin family has finished saying everything? Lin Jiarui was a little confused by her scolding, and when he realized it, he was also a little angry. Why are you venting your anger on me? You go to Mom for what Mom did. Lin Baoxi was standing by the stairs at this time. She was originally going to come down to find her mother, but she didn't expect to hear the quarrel between Yu Wenzi and Lin Jiarui, and she immediately stood there in embarrassment. Don't know what to say. In fact, she only knew about these things. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 216. She grew up in the Lin family, facing the love of her parents, and she knew some things. However, she never knew the truth was so cruel. It turned out that the second sister was sent away, not thrown away by them accidentally. If the second sister had not been lucky enough to be thrown away by the traffickers and picked up by someone, what would happen to her is still unknown. Her parents did not feel guilty at all, and they were still concerned about her brother who was sent abroad. It was obvious that the trouble was caused by her brother. She stood silently and heard her parents quarreling in an ugly way. Yu Wenzi could no longer see her usual gentleness. She cried and made a fuss to Lin Jiarui, detailing how she had lived for so many years. She did live a miserable life, but that was before giving birth to Lin Baeo-jun. She had her own pressure because she did not give birth to a son. After giving birth to a son, she was proud, and Lin Jiangguo did not blame them. She could usually receive money and be her rich wife at ease. Now Yingwan's appearance seemed to have returned to the once oppressive environment. But the problem is not here now. Yingwan did not say that she would come back. It was they who caused trouble, which led to the current incident being exposed and causing trouble for the Lin family. The most feared thing for a listed group is any major scandal, and this incident is not a small one. It would be fine if it happened, but the most terrible thing now is that it cannot be suppressed, and it will continue to make a fuss, and no one knows how far it will go. It is obvious that the Lin group will be affected. Parents who throw away their own daughters are so scary. While they were making trouble, Lin Baoxi quietly stepped aside. She took out her mobile phone, bit her lip, and called Lin Mei. Lin Mei saw that it was Lin Beoxi's call. She couldn't say what she felt, and she didn't refuse to answer. But after answering, she didn't speak first. Lin Beoxi took the initiative to speak. "Sister." Her voice was a little weak. "Do you really think of me as a sister?" Her tone was light, and she couldn't hear anger or any other emotions. Lin Mei couldn't say how she felt about the Lin family now. Now that the matter was made public, she was only glad that Yu Wenzi had actually let her go. A family that would abandon their own daughter for their son would seem terrible no matter how rich they were. She didn't know the real reason before, but now that she had truly seen the comparison with Yinghuan, Lin Mei suddenly let go of her previous life. In a person's life, some things are unattainable, and being alive is a blessing. She never wanted to ask for anything else. She spent a few years in the circle in peace and stability, and then it was over. She wanted to immigrate abroad not because of anything else. Standing on the same land with the Lin family, there would still be troubles. Leaving is the best choice. Lin Beoxi's heart tightened, and she said hesitantly, "Sister, I didn't do anything to let you down." "I know you certainly didn't do anything to let me down." Lin Beoxi's character was not bad, and she hadn't done anything, but she couldn't change the fact that she turned a blind eye to Lin Mei's current situation throughout the whole thing. "But some things don't disappear just because you do them. I understand your reasons. You don't want to lose your parents' love just because you are with me. I can understand that, but you have to know, Lin Beoxi, I don't owe you anything. In fact, you owe me. I have spent a lot on you over the years. If you have other things to say, it's okay. If it's about the Lin family, don't tell me." Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 217. Mom and Dad are fighting. Lin Beoxi was still scared when she heard Lin Mei's cold words, and her tears immediately fell. I have never seen them quarrel so fiercely. Now the internet is full of scolding them. My classmates also called to ask me. I am just so scared. Hearing Lin Beoxi crying, Lin Mei sighed slightly. I don't know how to say it. After all, she is a sister with blood relationship. There is no hatred between Lin Beoxi and her. It's just that the relationship is average. At this moment, I heard her crying, and I felt a little sympathy in my heart. After all, Lin Beoxi is innocent. But Lin Mei is now sensible. Some things can be soft-hearted, and some things cannot be forgiven. You find an excuse, saying that you have to study outside. There are many things at home these days, so you'd better not stay at home. As far as she knows, the stock price of the Lin family has begun to be affected. Grandpa Lin Jiangguo is likely to be very irritable these days. Although he doesn't scold people at home, he has a bad temper. Several children have been afraid of him since they were young. Lin Jiangguo is the absolute authority at home. Now that Lin Beoxi is the only one in the Lin family, Lin Mei still feels that if something happens, Lin Beoxi will probably become the couple's punching bag. It's best to find an excuse to hide. Lin Beoxi sobbed softly, "Should I go to the capital to find you?" "Don't come to me, I'm filming, why do you want to find me?" After thinking for a while, Lin Mei added, "Don't go to Wan Wan, she is not familiar with you, and she won't pay attention to you when she sees you. Don't you have your own house outside? Just change your environment and live there first. If it doesn't work, you can go to other cities to play for a few days." Lin Beoxi hesitated. Will my parents really not say anything? Lin Mei sneered, "If you are afraid, you can only stay at home. I have something else to do, so I'll hang up first." Hearing the dead tone on the other end of the phone, Lin Beoxi was still a little confused. "I always feel that my eldest sister has indeed changed a lot in the past. My eldest sister spoke to her in a soft voice, but now she seems much colder. Of course, it is natural for her to change after experiencing so many things in a short period of time. Hearing the fierce quarrel coming from downstairs, Lin Baoxi still had a headache. The Lin family incident spread quickly as soon as it came out. In addition, someone deliberately fanned the flames, and it couldn't be suppressed. Now, when you click on the hot search on Weibo, some unknown things about the Lin family have been exposed. Of course, the Lin family's business was not mentioned. The focus was on the aspects of favoring boys over girls, and some things that the Lin family did outside were exposed in detail. For example, the Lin family was also interviewed in the newspaper. At the beginning, they said in person that they treated the children in the family equally, but the news revealed by others was not the case. Now it has been confirmed that a child was thrown away just because it was a girl. No matter how strong the public relations are, they can't save it in the face of such fanning the flames. The Lin Group was affected by the storm, and the stock price plummeted. The situation was so miserable that Lin Jiangguo was furious. If Yu Wenzi hadn't released the news that they wanted to sever ties with Lin Mei, how could such a thing happen? He knew that it was not Lin Mei who did it. This matter was probably related to Ying Wan, which further confirmed his guess that Ying Wan had a great network of connections. And what was even more amazing was that an old friend probably couldn't stand it anymore, so he came to his company and told him something. "Old Lin, you really don't know what your second granddaughter does? She is a professor at Haddon. Becoming the richest by farming." Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 218. I don't want the Lin family to know about this, but there are channels. The difference is that the Lin family didn't specifically inquire about it before, and some news came out, so most of those who knew kept it secret. This old friend still has a good relationship with Lin Jiangguo. Seeing that his family's affairs have become so big, he was surprised that this happened. When Lin Jiangguo saw him coming to talk about this, he was shocked. "What did you say? Who is she?" The old friend is his partner. Seeing his expression at this moment, he was also a little strange. "I thought you should have known it a long time ago." "At that time, I didn't know that she was your granddaughter. I didn't know until my granddaughter told me that my granddaughter used to study in Haddon. In recent years, she came back to help me with housework. At that time, Ying Wan was in Haddon. She said that this professor was so young that he had reached a level that others could not reach in their lifetime. He became a professor in Haddon at the age of 15. 5 years ago, he was from Haddon. Haddon left, but she was very low-key. In addition to students, the higher UPS seemed to be deliberately suppressing her news." He saw Lin Jiangguo's thunderous expression and couldn't help but be a little surprised. "You really don't know? If I hadn't seen the news today, I wouldn't have known that she was your granddaughter." If her granddaughter hadn't held up a news report saying that the Lin family was simply too crazy, he wouldn't have known that the super genius Haddon mentioned by her granddaughter was Ying Wan. He only heard her briefly mention it a few times, and even his always strong granddaughter said that some people are born to be in the clouds, and others can't envy them. Because there are no innate conditions, that is not the peak you can reach by just working hard. Normal times, she will not be discussed, because she is too far away from ordinary people. When she is mentioned, she is also worshipped as a god. Lin Jiangguo's face was pale. He sat back in his chair, and murmured, "Professor Haddon, Professor Haddon." He knew the meaning of these words too well. Even if Ying Wan was just a professor who didn't care about worldly affairs, as long as she was from Haddon, at such a young age, just by passing on the news, his Lin Group could create a name of genius, which would have a huge influence on their family. Moreover, in Haddon, she had taught countless students and had countless connections. No wonder she knew about the Lin family so early, no wonder she didn't want to come back. For the first time in his life, Lin Jiangguo actually had the urge to vomit blood, so that his face looked a little excited. Thinking of this, he actually felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, and he felt that his eyes were black, as if he was going to faint. Hey, hey, don't be too excited. The old friend was afraid that something would really happen to him. After all, anything could happen when he was old, so he hurried forward to help him, and couldn't help but be shocked. So the things on the internet are all true, your family back then. Did you really throw Yingwan away on purpose? This is simply. It's ridiculous. Seeing that Lin Jiangguo couldn't keep a calm face at this moment, the old friend almost knew it. He looked at Lin Jiangguo and could only end with a faint sigh. He shook his head. Old Lin, it's difficult, it's difficult. It seems that the Lin family does not have such a blessing after all. So even if there is a super genius, it cannot be supported. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 219. Have the Lin family gone crazy? Hua Huanyan was wearing a limited edition shirt at the moment, squatting by the farmland without any image to read the news. In the distance, Yingwan was tending to her Wanlangxiang. Wanlangxiang is particularly difficult to get. His family does have it, but he plans to find an excuse to buy one from her. It doesn't matter whether it is sold or not, what matters is to get close to her. You should learn from your brother Lu, who is thick-skinned and can do anything. He can eat at the same table with Yingwan, so why can't he? When the news broke, Hua Huanyan naturally saw it. He wanted to forward the news and curse the Lin family for 18 generations at the first time, but considering that it would cause trouble for Yingwan, he gave up. Netizens don't know anything. It's hard to say what the final outcome will be based on one-sided words. Sci-Lu stood aside, looking at the busy construction scene not far away. Yingwan's side is not going to move for the time being, but the plan will always start. When the house is demolished at the beginning of next year, these villagers will always have a place to live. He stood under a tree, one hand in his pocket, casual and wanton, wearing a black shirt, a man who was abstinent and indifferent, with a cigarette between his slender fingertips. The smoke was curling and rising, making his facial features unclear in the hazy smoke. Only in his narrow eyes there was always some starlight. He was always a little evil, and seemed a little dandy. Hearing Hua Huanyan's words, he put down his hand holding the cigarette and just looked into the distance. They are not crazy, they are just stupid. Thin lips can always spit out some harsh words. But it's the truth. Hua Huanyan looked back at him and gave a thumbs up. Brother Lu, you are right. It's stupid. All the IQ is concentrated on Yingwan, otherwise ordinary people can't do such a superb thing. A good super genius is not needed, and a waist is raised. Yes, that Lin Baojun. Hua Huanyan also said a few words about Lin Baojun's matter after watching the news. Besides, Sci-Lu had dealt with Lin Baojun not long ago. There was a little rumor in the circle. Everyone said that he didn't give Yingwan face. Now that the truth has come out, he is clearly venting his anger on Yingwan. In fact, Yingwan has nothing to vent. She is not angry at all. She took the farm tools to tend to the Wanlangxiang, and saw that it was growing well, so she was a little relieved. When she walked to the edge of the farmland, she naturally saw 2 extra men. Sci-Lu didn't care, and she didn't care why Hua Huanyan appeared here. After all, this is not her territory, and people will always show up. She just pretended not to see it. Hua Huanyan was thick-skinned and much bolder than when he came yesterday. When he saw Yingwan was about to leave, he jumped over and stood in front of Yingwan, laughing, "Professor Ying." Even Sci-Lu didn't expect this action, so he squinted his eyes and stared at Hua Huanyan's back. It seemed that there were always sharp arrows shooting out of his eyes on his smiling face. Hua Huanyan felt like a thorn in his back, but it didn't matter, he was not afraid. The excuse Hua Huanyan made to get close to him was extremely lame. Professor Ying, I see you have several Wanlangxiang here, do you sell them? Ying Wan, no. Very cold and ruthless, or the Professor Ying in his memory. Hua Huanyan obediently stepped aside, okay. A sneer from Si Lu came from behind. The sarcasm was very obvious. But he didn't give up so easily. He suddenly said, Professor Ying, tomorrow is my birthday. Becoming the Richest by Farming. Author, Gu Mushuang. Chapter 220. Ying Wan stopped and turned to look at him, her delicate face showing a calm expression. In this mountain wilderness, she looks like a fresh flower. Hua Huanyan still felt that Professor Ying Wan was very attractive for a while, but when he thought of the other person's identity, it was a blow to his head. Coupled with the fact that there was a fierce person staring at him from behind, he was as timid as 10 leopards and didn't dare to have any bad intentions in the evening. Si Lu felt that Hua Huanyan was ignorant of good and evil. I can find any excuses. Tomorrow is indeed his birthday on the Gregorian calendar. You must know that Chinese people generally follow the lunar calendar but not the Gregorian calendar. When she was thinking about dealing with him later, Ying Wan over there had already said calmly, so, does it have anything to do with me? Do you still expect the teacher to give you a birthday gift? What kind of birthday gift do you want for someone you don't know? Although they are all students she has taught, does she take care of the fact that so many students see her every birthday? Hua Huanyan came up to her and couldn't change this fact. Si Lu. Laugh. He clearly burst into laughter. Hua Huanyan felt that Ying Wan was heartless and made people cry. Can I have the honor to ask the teacher to cook a meal for me? You just need to do what you do every day well. After I saw it on TV, I am very attracted to your cooking skills. Teacher, please, for the sake of my birthday tomorrow, I have to leave the day after tomorrow, can I eat your cooking? Rice, this is my biggest wish for this year's birthday. Ying Wan. Si Lu. Seeing Hua Huanyan almost kneeling down and hugging Ying Wan's thigh and crying, even Si Lu wanted to ask him when did he become so thick-skinned. It was just a meal. Those who didn't know it after telling it out thought that Mr. Hua had never seen the market. Of course Si Lu also knew why he was so insistent. He was just posting on WeChat moments. Hua Huanyan was different. If he had dinner with Ying Wan, the news could spread throughout his active circle the next day. Ying Wan thought about it, it was all about cooking anyway, and it wasn't a big deal if he looked like he was crying even though he was here. She is not a heartless person, and it doesn't matter if the student has such a humble wish. Anyway, I want to help. She said okay, turned around and left. Seeing that Ying Wan really agreed, Si Lu's smile gradually froze, and he put out the cigarette in his hand and threw it away. Sure enough, it was a cunning move that he didn't expect. Oh my God, is this real? Hua Huanyan looked as if he was about to cry. He looked at Ying Wan's leaving figure and waved his hands. He couldn't help but flatter him, teacher, please go slowly. Tomorrow. What are you doing tomorrow? Hua Huanyan's spine stiffened at his sinister words, and then he turned around and saw Si Lu, who had a dark face at the moment. He laughed and said, Brother Lu, this is a good thing. I also create opportunities for you. Could it be that it's my birthday? Aren't you invited yet? Si Lu squinted his eyes and moved his fingers around his neck. His deep voice was as murderous as an ice blade. When did you become so thick-skinned? Hua Huanyan shrank his neck, only feeling the touch of a poisonous snake, as if he could bite him severely in the next moment, shaking his legs and replied, it's not when, it's just that after I came, I gained a new understanding with you. He still dared to say it. The people listening didn't seem so happy. Si Lu chuckled. The laughter was so sweet, like a moving chord. However, the next moment, Hua Huanyan's howl of ghosts and wolves could be heard on the hillside.